On today's collectible spot, we're having a look at the Diamond Select Minimates The Amazing Spider-Man. We're looking today at the 2-pack featuring Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Now there are 8 figures. Technically, I guess there are 4 figures. There are two packs, and then there are two packs that are Toys R Us exclusives. I would really say of the 2 packs, though, the 2 that I would say are definitely must-haves are the Spider-Man and the Peter Parker that we'll be reviewing today, as well as the battle-damaged Spider-Man and the Lizard. These, I might probably talk more about them when we're doing the review, when I'm doing the review of these. But for me, this is where the meat is. This is the meat and potatoes right here. Down below, we see a picture of the Spider-Man Minimate, as well as Peter Parker. Down there. It's remarkable what they can do with a Minimate that's such basic in design. There's no nose, no nothing else, but they do still do a pretty good job of, I would say, roughly looking like the characters that they're based off of. I also really love this packaging. And it also lends itself to something I really want to say in general, the Amazing Spider-Man packaging. I don't know if it's just me, but I find it pops. Every time I go into a Toys R Us, or I go somewhere where they sell Amazing Spider-Man toys, just the packaging that they've gone with. This kind of dark, kind of crimson red, and of course the ever-used crouching Spider-Man up top there. I mean, you can walk right by it, and you look over and you immediately know it's Amazing Spider-Man. It doesn't just blend in like all the other packaging of toy packages out there. On the back, as I was already discussing, the other Minimates that make up the set, we've got Spider-Man and Peter Parker, a battle-damaged Spider-Man and Lizard, and then of the Toys R Us exclusives, we have Dr. Connors, Gwen Stacy, Vigilante Spider-Man, and Captain Stacy. The read-up down below says, for Spider-Man, says, possessing the proportionate strength and speed of a spider, high schooler Peter Parker patrols New York City as Spider-Man, using a pair of web shooters he designed and built himself. The read-up for Peter Parker says, while sneaking into the lab where his missing father used to work, Peter stumbled across a strange experiment using irradiated spiders and was bitten by one of the test subjects. So a little bit different of an origin, but still staying pretty true to the origin of Spider-Man. What I am going to do is take a bit of a break. I'm going to get this opened up, of course. And when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Minimates that make up this 2-pack. Stay tuned, there's definitely more to come. Okay, luckily I was able to get these to stand. Let's first have a look at Peter Parker. We'll zoom the camera in a slight bit. It's a pretty good likeness. You know, okay, I'll admit it. If this was packed away a year later, 2 years later, somebody was going through your box of Minimates and they pulled this out, I don't know, maybe they might not say, you know, hey, oh, I see you've got Andrew Garfield portraying Peter Parker in a Minimate. They might not say that. They might just say, hey, who's the guy with the glasses and the gray jacket? If you told me it was Andrew Garfield, you know what, I can see it. I can definitely see it. As basic as a Minimate is, again, he's got no nose, no real distinguishable features aside from, you know, cheekbones, his eyes and glasses, and his mouth. I think for as far as they could have gone with a Minimate, the hair is pretty good. Again, kind of looks like Spot's hair, just a little bit. I'd say just a little bit. Looks like my hair. He's got himself the knapsack going on here. Now it's also the same knapsack that I was discussing for the battle-damaged Spider-Man. There is that peg. Now I guess that peg, it makes sense now where that peg comes into play. It looks like that there's a peg that probably just pegs into a shoulder if you want to take that knapsack right out. I think that might be the only thing that's keeping this knapsack on Peter. The coloring is pretty good. You can see he's got himself some sneakers going on there. Some gray slacks. His jacket. You know, for all intents and purposes, you could take the jacket off, but then he'd have still gray sleeves from his jacket unless you swapped it out for, you know, I don't know, You had blue, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a figure that would have had blue arms, but you know, if you found one, you could probably just do that and have a, you know, Peter wearing a blue shirt. Or even if you gave him just flesh-colored arms, he could be wearing like a sleeveless t-shirt. I don't think Peter would wear a sleeveless t-shirt, but it is there if you want. You can take the hair off as you can with every other Minimate. Really, if you had yourself a business suit, and you probably found yourself some different hair, you could probably make yourself a pretty good Clark Kent Minimate as well. Kind of like the Lizard, you can't really get a lot of movement in his head, sadly, because his head is so sunken in to this larger torso piece. Without that torso, you could probably get quite a bit of movement out of his head. Oh, and also, I just take the head off here. Peter Parker also does come with an unmasked version, which, I don't know, kind of looks like Spot. That looks like, if anybody wants to know what I look like, I would say Dane Cook, but that's also what I look like right here. Pretty similar. I'd say pretty similar. Now everybody will be saying on Facebook and everything else, oh, you want to see what Spot looks like? Check out 3 minutes, 12 seconds of this video. The Minimate, that's what he looks like. You know, for the fact that it's Peter Parker, I probably would prefer to keep the glasses on Peter. If anything, I might put this face. You know, I really won't, but if I had the option, this was the only set I bought, I might put that head onto this Spider-Man body. Even though I prefer the masked Spider-Man more so, but I'm just going to take the head off here. All that effort only just to put on the original head anyways. But you can see, now I'm wondering if there's a difference between his hair. No, it's the same hair. This one doesn't look as shiny as this one. I'm going to put the non-shiny hair on. There we go. Peter Parker also does come with a skateboard that you can peg into his foot. Once you find the peg hole, of course. Once you find the peg hole, I know where the peg hole is. It's right there. There we go. Doesn't sit in well. You know, as a note, just as a side note, maybe these pegs should have been a little longer. They don't sit in the feet all that well, do they? Maybe just a little finesse. You could probably get him on skateboard. He doesn't really doesn't sit in it very well. Kind of like the display stand for Lizard. Didn't really sit in the stand very well. At least the regular Peter did. You can have him holding the skateboard. Now the only problem with most Minimates is these hands get the clamp hands here do tend to get loose after a while, that maybe he won't in time be able to hold the skateboard very well. As you can see right now, he holds it pretty good. The skateboard is just a solid piece of plastic. The wheels don't turn or anything like that. At least they don't look like they do. It's remarkable that they look like they're pegged in, but yeah, they don't rotate or anything like that. I suppose if you wanted to, you can have him kind of holding a skateboard under his arm too. Like that. He's running to school. It would be funny that he'd be running to school holding a skateboard that could probably get him to school faster, but oh well. Peter Parker, I think I'm going to give Peter Parker here a 7. Not a bad Minimate. Really not a bad Minimate at all. Putting him aside, I think the real draw for me for this set is this one right here. We have ourselves the masked Spider-Man. Looking very, very cool in his spider costume. You guys can let me know down below. I personally love this costume. Love it. I love it much more than the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man costume. I just love that it's dark. It's got this nice dark blue, dark red. Love the gold eyes. I know some people don't, but I love the gold eyes on him. You also have the unmasked, well, I made him unmasked. You also have the battle damaged Spidey. Very similar in design. You can see that his Spidey symbol is scratched up. I'm sure from battling the Lizard. Just take the hair off here. Because the battle damaged Spidey, if you remember, if you watched my review, did also come with a mask. You can see though that the battle damaged Spider-Man, because he has to have a cap to go over the face, it makes his head a lot larger than the regular Spider-Man. So again, for that reason, I would probably keep regular Spider-Man masked, this Peter Parker, or this battle damaged Spider-Man unmasked. That's how I'm rolling, at least in this case. But I really like the detail work. I think the Review Revolution, when he did the review, he had mentioned that his eyes are a little offset. I think I fared a little bit better. They seem to be pretty straight in this case. But I love the gold eyes. I love the panel lining, everything else on the figure is top notch. I've been super impressed so far with the Amazing Spider-Man Minimates for the level of detail between this guy and the Lizard. I think they've done really a fantastic job. Now in both cases, you know, both Minimate cases, the articulation would be a ball joint in the head, ball jointed shoulders, a bend in the elbow, rotation in the hand. He's got a swivel in the waist. Now the swivel in the waist is not always the easiest because they're generally really stiff. The legs bend forward and back, bend at the knee. You can also get the legs to spread a little bit, like so. You can get them to move out. Now, and you can also rotate it at the foot. Now I find the peg, the foot here, seems to want to be coming off of Spider-Man. I don't really know why, but overall though, a really, really solid figure. If I would recommend any set at all from the Minimates, from the Amazing Spider-Man Minimates, I probably would go with this set right here. A much better Spider-Man than, of course, the battle damage, just because it's got the unmasked, the mask that you can take off. You know, it's a real shame that we couldn't have got this Spider-Man with Lizard, but I can understand why, because, you know, you would get battle damage with Spider-Man, you know, makes sense, right? I really like the Peter Parker, but for me, the money is with the Spider-Man here, which I am also going to give him an 8.5. An 8.5, possibly, you know what? No, forget it. I'm going to actually give him a 9. Just a really great figure, great detail, great paint. You can't go wrong, really, with this Minimate. There he is right there. Today's collectible spot, we're having a look at the Diamond Select Amazing Spider-Man Minimates. We're looking today at Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Oh, and also, as a side note, he's got his web shooters right there as well, just in case you were wondering. Just in case you were wondering if he had them, they're right there. Just a great set to get, though. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.